This is Eduardo Harari, and this is the Sports Wrap. Tonight, remember that we are, this show is coming to you through the BarnBurner Network and Channel 250 on Zingo TV. Remember as well that you can download the applications of OSG, Zingo, and BarnBurner on its respective stores on iOS and Android. As well, the applications are totally free, so there is no reason why not to download them and follow the action on your devices. While downloading, please let us, while you download the applications, please leave us a comment and rate us, as we would like to find out how you feel about our shows and how the applications are working. Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast and Google Chromecast TV sticks, Amazon Fire and Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku sticks, and in all TVs 2016 and forward. Well, this evening we are going to start with the story of the day, which is the NBA playoffs and what transpired in today in the NBA. As many people know, there has been a lot of concern with regards to the incident that happened in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where a man was shot 7 times by a police officer in front of his kids. An incident that is totally out of context, out of reality. So the Toronto Raptors yesterday, and kudos to the Toronto Raptors players and their spokesman, Fred VanVleet and Norman Powell, they have decided that they announced that they were going to boycott their start of their game of the playoffs in round 2. But as a result of all this that is going on with the people, today the Milwaukee Bucks decided to cancel their game and do a walkout with the Orlando Magic, and proceeding that all games in the playoffs to conclude round 1 were postponed and canceled. LeBron James, basketball's #1 player right now, and probably in the last decade, also came out on social media and from the bubble saying that he doesn't feel like playing anymore because of all the situation that is happening outside with innocent bystanders being abused by the authorities, and no blame being put on who really instigates the incidents. So in context now, the Toronto Raptors have going to announce whether they are going to continue in this playoff round. They have decided that they were going to take a vote sometime tonight or tomorrow to see if they are going to be departing the bubble as the defending champions. Most likely it is that if the Raptors leave, a lot of teams will follow them, therefore putting an end to the NBA playoffs and championship run. In following the same story, 2 teams in the Major League Baseball, the Milwaukee Brewers had a game against today, and that game was also postponed. The LA Angels and the Astros game was also canceled due to the incident. But we are going to go through the other games that did happen in the NBA, in the MLB. games that should have been postponed and they weren't. So we have right now in the top, in the halfway through the ninth inning, the Detroit Tigers beating the Chicago Cubs 7-6. As well, the Kansas City Royals are tied in the bottom of the seventh with the St. Louis Cardinals. In the top of the third inning is Colorado. Colorado beating Arizona. The final games that have concluded, the Chicago White Sox defeated the Pittsburgh Pirates 10-3. The Atlanta Braves in game one defeat the New York Yankees 5-1. The Philadelphia Phillies beat the Washington Nationals 3-2. The Toronto Blue Jays beat on the Boston Red Sox 9-1. The Tampa Bay Rays defeat Baltimore 4-3. The New York Mets defeat Miami 5-4. The Detroit Tigers beat on the Chicago Cubs 7-6 in game two of that series. The Cleveland Indians defeat the Minnesota Twins 6-3. And in game two of the Atlanta-New York series, Atlanta defeats New York 2-1. As I said, in recognition of the incident that happened in Milwaukee, the Brewers and Reds games decided not to play. The Mariners and Padres was also postponed, and the Dodgers and Giants games were also postponed. So it is something that is interesting, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens now if the leagues do continue their playoff series, or do they cancel the season and call it an end, as many players in multiple leagues have said. Sport is not above humanity, and these are our fans that are being attacked. Therefore, they believe that play should be stopped. Other news out of major leagues is that Queen so we have Roman Quinn has been named Major League's fastest runner by StatCast, as he is able to sprint 30.4 feet per second, which makes him the fastest player in the major leagues right now. He has beat his own record, which stood at 29.9 feet per second. In other news as well, the deadline is approaching for Major League Baseball, and as you know, many teams are struggling in all categories, and we know that the Pirates, both the Pirates and the Angels are selling off their teams in order to rebuild and restructure. Trevor Bauer has been noted as one of the people that might be going. Today, the Yankees acquired Brantley from the Giants. But let's look at the leaders in the respective categories in the majors. And we have that in batting average, Charlie Blackmon is hitting .391. Home run leader is a tie right now with 12 home runs between Jose Abreu of the White Sox and Fernando Tatis Jr. from San Diego. In runs batted in is being led right now by Jose Abreu with 30 RBIs. Stolen bases, Jonathan Villar of Miami takes that category with 9 stolen bases. And in runs, there is 3 players tied currently for the category with 29, and that happens to be let me see here. So the 3 tied up right now is Trevor Story from the Colorado Rockies, Fernando Tatis of San Diego, and Mike Yastrzemski from the San Francisco Giants, grandson of the great Carl Yastrzemski, great legacy in that family. So we are going to continue looking at the leaderships in the majors, and let's go to, give me one second. Pitching. Let's look at pitching. And here we go. So in pitching, we have that Brad Hand is leading in saves with 9, tied with Liam Hendricks, who also has 9 from the Oakland Athletics. Earned run is right now the leader is Shane Bieber from the Cleveland Indians with 1.35 ERA. Earned run average also tied Max Fried from the Atlanta Braves at 1.35. Strikeouts is Shane Bieber again with 75 strikeouts. In whip is Kenta Maeda from the Minnesota Twins at 0.71. And wins, the lead is by Shane Bieber again with 6 wins right now. If we look at the standings currently in the leagues, in the American League, it is the Tampa Bay Rays that are leading with a record of 21-11, followed by the Yankees with a record of 16-11. Toronto follows with a record of 15-14. Baltimore follows that with a record of 14-16, and Boston sits at the basement at 10-21. That's the American League East. The Central, currently the Minnesota Twins lead it with a record of 20-12. Chicago follows closely with a record of 19-12, as do the Cleveland Indians. The Detroit Tigers follow that at 13-16, and at the bottom of the Central Division are the Kansas City Royals at 12-18. In the AL West, and with a record of 21-10, are the Oakland Athletics, followed by the Houston Astros, at 17 and 14. Seattle sits at 12 and 19. Texas at 11 and 18. And the LA Angels at 10 and 22. In the National League, we have the NL East being led by the Atlanta Braves with a record of 18 and 12. Miami follows with a record of 14 and 12. And remember, they have a lot of games to make up due to the COVID pandemic that they had to sit out. Philadelphia follows that with a record of 12 and 14. The New York Mets sit second to the bottom of the division at 13 and 16. And the defending World Series champions Washington Nationals sit at the bottom of the National League East at 11 and 17. In the Central, it is the Chicago Cubs with a record of 18 and 12. Next in the ladder, it is the St. Louis Cardinals with a record of 10 and 9. Milwaukee 13 and 15. Cincinnati 11 and 17. And Pittsburgh sits at the bottom of the Central with a record of 7 and 19. In the West, again, there is no one near them, and they are the LA Dodgers with a record of 22 and 9. San Diego is with a record of 10 and 13 in second place. Colorado is in third at 15 and 15. San Francisco is at 15 and 16, sitting in fourth. And Arizona is at the bottom in the basement at 13 and 18. Well, let's move from baseball over to hockey. And although there are games that have been played, I want to start by saying that it's very disappointing that the NHL had no integrity in following the steps of the NBA by canceling their games today. They had a recognition of the incident that happened in Milwaukee that lasted a total of 37.9 seconds. That's what do they mean by a recognition? Just they know. Considering that Mr. Bateman sits in the commissioner's chair, he should have been a little bit more concerned about the image that the NHL is portraying. So let's look at the games that transpired today. The first game was the Philadelphia Flyers defeating in overtime the New York Islanders 4-3, tying the series at 1. The other game that just finished, the Tampa Bay Lightning completely demolished the Boston Bruins and lead the series 2-1 by the score of 7-1. And currently in the first period, with 17:55 to play, the Dallas Stars are tied with the Colorado Avalanche at 0. Let's go to the MLS. And the MLS only had one game today, and that was Orlando against Nashville. And Orlando takes that game 3-1. And we are going to touch the major story in the world of soccer that it has transpired. It is official. Lionel Messi will not return to the Lions of Barcelona. He has asked to be dismissed as a free agent, and he has opted to deal in a negotiation with the team at Manchester City in the English League. It is very interesting because there are several teams that are pursuing him. Manchester City, which has the lead right now, Paris Saint-Germain, Juventus. And in the MLS, if he decides to opt this way, would be Mr. Beckman, who has talked to Mr. Messi to come to play for Inter Miami, but news coming out of through Marca, the Spanish newspaper, they said today that Messi's, if the contract is lands with Manchester City, Manchester City has already an agreement in word with New York, the New York City FC, that they would take control of the contract of Messi 3 years from the day that Messi signs with Manchester City. That would put Mr. Beckham in a lot of trouble. But that's the story so far. Let's look at other news that are happening. Let's look at the NFL, which is supposed to start in 2 weeks' time. Their season starts. And the main story that is coming out, and it's coming out of the Texans, the Houston Texans, the Herschel Walker, Kenny Stills today said the following statement: if the NFL listened to Colin Kaepernick, many lives could have been saved. Basically acknowledging the idea that at the time when Colin Kaepernick put his knee down for the national anthem, at the time when he was a member of the San Francisco Giants, so 49ers, he was not listened to. Packers' Aaron Rodgers made a statement on the Jacob Blake shooting, and he says there is a systematic problem. He can say whatever he wants to say now, but in a sense, if we would have taken a more stern stance and he would have listened to us in the beginning of this, there would have been many lives saved that could have been saved, Still said. There is a lot of progress within our law enforcement, within our police. So it's nice gestures, I guess, to say he wishes he would have done something different, but look at the NFL. So let's go to the story pointing to Miss Packers' Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers said the following: was among the NFL stars to speak out on the police involvement in the shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And he said the Packers Leadership Council met a day after Blake was shot in front of his children there's a systematic problem, and until the problem is fixed, this is going to be an all too common sighting in this country. He said, according to Packers.com, it is obviously hits home being not far from Green Bay. I am not going to comment directly on the video, but until more facts have come out. But obviously, it's something whereas a non-police officer, I think for a lot of us, the natural question is where is the lethal force? When is lethal force necessary? Again, I think it's a systematic problem that needs to be addressed at some point. There is antiquated laws that are prejudicial against people of color in this state. I think the governor and the folks at the Capitol need to take a hard look at some of those systems that are in place. I want to remind everybody that this show can also be listened to on the BarnBurner Radio Network and its 122 platforms on social media. As well, remember to go to our website for all the news, barnburner.ca. And reminding you that BarnBurner, watch it, hear it, read it. And you can read it also on our sister partner, laportadacanada.com, and download it because it's good to have and to hear our shows at your own time, but especially live it because BarnBurner is sport and sport is BarnBurner. For the sports wrap, this has been Eduardo Harari. We'll be back tomorrow at the primetime hour when Logan Lockhart will come back for that show, the Sports Wrap Primetime.